When we get the hamstrings loose, because when we get the hamstrings loose, it gives us a lot more freedom with our back too. So, band to hand, and if you've not got a band, dressing gown belt, a resistance band, anything, you just loop around the leg. Pop that to the side. I'll pop it there so I remember to use it. And then we're just going to take a lie down. Just going to allow ourselves to settle. So tuck in the chin, roll down through the spine, let your arms come out wide, let your head rest and your shoulders just let go of any tension and let them melt into the floor. So we just want the body to be in a nice relaxed state to begin with. So if you just let the chin slightly nod in so you feel a lengthening into the neck. Basically pull the shoulder blades down to the back of the ribs so you get rid of any tension across the top of the neck and the shoulders. Top of the shoulders and the neck, should I say. Now as you're here, your palms face up to the ceiling, so it gives us a little release across the shoulders and the chest. And we're going to think about our breath first. When you're ready to breathe in, you're going to breathe and feel like your tummy expands, like it blows up like a balloon. As you breathe out, you just think about drawing the belly button down towards the spine. And again, breathe in. Feel your ribs open, your belly rises, and then breathe out, sink in. And just one more breath. Filling your entire body up with air. And then letting it all go. Now as you draw your belly gently down towards your back, just trying to maintain that little connection to our core. So getting the shoulders loose first, so you can bring your hands to your shoulders, point your elbows up to the ceiling, chin's nodded in, and we're just going to start to circle the elbows. So you're just drawing circles around your elbow, around your shoulders. Keeping the elbows pointing up to the ceiling. And just noticing that your ribs are staying down and you're maintaining that little connection into your core. So just let the shoulders feel loose. Let them roll all the way around. And then change in direction. So a little roll the other way. Start small and just gently increase the movement as you go. Again, tight shoulders, tight chest muscles can really change our posture. So getting these loosened off first can just help to some of the other stretches to flow a little bit easier. As you keep the elbows this time in the centre pointing up to the ceiling, you're going to breathe in, let your rib cage lift, so you're expanding the ribs, and then breathe out, press the back of the ribs into the ground. Now as you do this, trying to keep neutral spine and the rib cage just flares. It's not often allowed to let the ribs flare, but this time you are. As you breathe in, feel the shoulder blades slide together. As you breathe out, just gently squeezing back into the chest. And two more. Breathing in as you open and breathing out to close. Last one here. And then stay in the middle. Arms are going to reach out to the ceiling. Let one hand reach up and then pull it back and press it into the floor. And then the other hand reaching up and physically pull it back. And just keep alternating sides. So you're starting to get right behind that shoulder blade. But each time you're pressing the shoulder back into the floor. So you're working stability on one side as you press the shoulder down and working for the stretch on the other arm, the other shoulder as it lifts. Once more each side. So again, just getting those muscles loosening off around the shoulders. Now we're going to reach the arms back. You're going to bend your elbows, try and get your palms to face the ceiling, reach the ankles and then back over. Now, the closer you get your arms to the floor, the more stretch you're going to create in your chest. So it's like you're trying to brush the arms along the ground. Now you might feel that you're having to flare your ribs to try and get the arms down. If that's happening, think about holding the rib cage down, and even the arms don't come as close to the floor, it's fine. Just encouraging the range of movement as you feel is right for you. Now start to think about the lats, just underneath our armpits down towards our back. So as we pull the elbows down to the ribs, we're going to pull down with the armpits. Breathing as you reach back, and then breathing out to pull down. One last time, and then this time the arms stop above your chest, and then you're going to bring them out wide. Palms facing the ceiling, and you're just going to allow your knees now to roll from side to side. Now as we're rolling with the knees, we're trying to keep the ribs still. So you don't want to feel your upper body is starting to turn with the legs. That's our anchor, rib cage. The hips can rock from side to side, but the ribs we're trying to keep perfectly still. So again, that just helps to encourage the movement through the hips more than the back. And sometimes if we're a little bit more flexible in one area compared to the other, our bodies will naturally use that area to work from. So just trying to be aware of where the work flows. Once more each side. And then resting in the middle. Can, right leg. Bring your knee in, push forward, bring the knee in, and a little reach up. So we're starting to ease into our hamstrings. Now you might struggle to get the leg up straight. So if that's a little bit of a struggle, push the leg out to a diagonal. The main point is that you're getting straight across the back of the knee. If you're keeping the knee slightly bent and trying to reach up, you're never getting the stretch in here. So it's better to bring the leg lower and to keep straightening it out. Then you're going to start to dig away into your heel, so you get more stretch then into your calves. And then you might notice, bit by bit, the leg's ready to come a little higher. And again, never moving to the point of pain, just feeling a mild stretch occurring right down the back of the leg, maybe right up in towards the bottom. Now your next one, keep the knee above the hip at 90 degrees. Left leg, slide it away, and then your knee is just going to roll from side to side. And as you're rolling the knee from side to side, again trying to keep the ribs and the upper body still. Let the weight of the knee go right across your body. Maybe sinking it down towards the floor. Breathing out with each little roll. And as you breathe out, let the leg go heavier. And two more again here. So as loose at the hips, this time we're going to hold it. So keep it across your body. Left hand onto your knee and let the knee edge towards the ground. Anchor your right shoulder and keep that palm up to the ceiling. Now try and relax your lower back. And as you relax the lower back, see if the knee goes just a little bit further. And if it helps, turn your head, have a look down that right arm. So you get a stretch again even deeper and a little bit of rotation into your neck. One more breath in, out breath, relax wherever you can, neck, shoulders, face, lower back. And then come into the centre. So placing your right foot down. When you're ready, left knee for your can. Pull in, push forward, and then up to the diagonal. Now as you're moving the leg, try to keep working from a neutral position, just so you're not pushing your back into the floor as you reach the leg upwards, the diagonal or straight up above the hip. Now once we've started getting the hamstrings a little looser, you can start to dig away into your heel. And because the hamstrings and the calf cross the knee, again it might be hard to get that knee joint straight. So just take it back into that diagonal position. More important to get the legs straight, then get the hands. Give me two more. And with your last one, knee stops above the hip. Right leg slides away, shoulders press into the floor, ribs stay down, and you can let that left knee roll from side to side. You might find one direction easier than the other, or when you come to work, one side of the body might feel easier than the other. But just try and encourage the movement in a position where you feel comfortable, you feel there's a mild stretch, but you're not causing any discomfort or any pain. The pain was done in the Pilates, especially in the tummies today. A couple more each way. And then as your leg comes across to your right, you bring your right hand onto the knee, you let the knee sink, press your left shoulder into the floor, breathe in and breathe into your lower back, and then breathe out, try and relax the muscles around the lower back. And again, find the breath, take it deep in through your nose. As you breathe out through your mouth, that's when you try and let the stretch go a little further. Then if it feels good, just turn your head, have a little look down that left arm, keep the chin nodded in and the neck nice and long. You can go a little further whenever you're ready. And bring it back into the centre. Bring both knees in towards your chest, give your chin a little tuck in, and then we're going to roll up to seated and prepare with our band. So with the band, it's going to go around the right foot. Right leg out straight, back up nice and tall, and take a grip of the band with your right hand. Left arm out to the side, and then as you roll back, you can bring the leg up above the hip. Rest that left arm and keep a hold of your right foot. Slow circles. Now you might find you're okay with the leg up, or you might find you're circling down here. Again, either's fine. The main thing again is trying to keep the leg straight and then starting to circle a little bit bigger. So you're trying to take the foot around the hip socket. Breathing out as you pull it in. Mine's gone to more of a square now, here we go. So if you imagine your foot's going around a clock and you're trying to get every dial on the clock. One more circle in this direction and reverse. Start small and then go a little bit bigger as you feel ready. And again, same thing if you're down here, absolutely fine. Just circling the foot around the hip, going bigger as you feel ready. Get a little bit of an arm workout at the same time. Don't worry too much about the other leg moving. That's not a problem, it's just getting this one moving in the circles to begin with. That matters. And then you can rest in the centre. Take both straps, one in each hand. Pull the shoulders back and just come into a little leg swing. And again, that leg swing might be down here. Or you might feel quite happy up here. But try not to come up here and bend the knee. Try and keep the front of your thigh gently squeezed. And then start to notice your back. As you're swinging the leg in, try not to press the lower back into the floor. It does help to press the tailbone back to the ground, and that helps keep that little bit of space between the lower back and the mat. So we're not stretching the back, we're stretching the hamstrings and keeping the pelvis nice and still. 2 more. And hold. Take your band in your left hand. You're going to roll the leg over to the left. Your left knee also comes down to the floor. Once you're here, that might be enough. You can keep the back of the ribs pressed down, and if it feels okay, you can gently pull the leg slightly up towards the head. If it feels too much, just let the weight of the leg sink to the ground, allowing it to go a little bit heavier with each out breath. Big breath in. Out breath, let it sink, or keep gently pulling upwards. Couple more here, couple more breaths, or a couple more swings. Now, as you hold in the middle, pull the band up, pull the leg, with the band, and come back into the centre. Now, as you come back into the centre, your left knee, let it drop out with a slight diagonal, and then bring the right leg out to the side. So you're counterbalancing by keeping that left knee slightly pointed out to about 5 past the hour. Keeping the pelvis nice and grounded and letting the legs sink as you feel ready. You don't have to swing it here, just have to hold it. And you're letting gravity do its work, sink into the floor. Left knee counterbalancing, big breath in and out breath, let the leg come a little bit deeper if it feels right for you. You might be up here and it's fine, just a little bit of a stretch on the inner thigh. You're gently encouraging the leg down as you feel comfortable. And again, we're all going to be different with that range of movement here. When you've had enough of that stretch, you're going to hold onto your band and again pull the leg back into the centre. Hold here and place both feet into the band. Feet at hip distance apart and then gently swinging the legs back. And again, if your legs aren't high, they're quite low, that's fine. Just gently easing them in. Bit of an arm workout again. Out breath with each little pull. Try not to press the lower back into the floor. And 2 more. and hold at the top. Right foot comes down now. Shoulders relax, and then we're going to go back to the leg swing with just your left leg now. Remember, it can be low or it can be high, but try and use the breath, the out breath, encourages the muscles to relax. That's when you have to breathe out as you go into your stretch. Again, and higher. Not forcing it, but just letting the muscles warm up and get a little bit longer each time. Once more, hold it. So you take your band into your right hand, your leg comes across to the right, your right knee comes down to the floor. Again, you might feel that leg sticking up in the air, that's fine, hold it there. Or you might allow that leg to come a little bit lower. Try and relax the lower back, and then the pelvis can turn a little bit more. You might find it here is enough for you, or you might want to add that little swinging. And as you gently pull the leg up, you're getting more stretch again around the outside of the hip. Or again, if you're here, that's fine too. You can still add in that little sweep up and down towards the head for 5, 4, 3, 2, you're 1. Pull the band and the leg back into the centre. Right knee stays out about 5 to 10 to the hour. And then your left leg goes out to the side. Again, you just leave that stretch on the inner thigh. Try not to let the knee bend. Gently squeeze the front of your thigh and let the leg drop a little bit further. Feel like you're channeling that breath into the hip. The out breath, letting the leg go further down towards the floor. So it's the weight of the leg that's sinking it down. Letting gravity pull it down a little bit further with each out breath. And then when you're ready, pulling that leg back up into the centre. Taking both feet again, back into the band, shoulders set back, and if you can from here, as you pull your legs back, you can let your bottom lift a little off the ground. So we are starting to get into the lower back, just a little. Again, if that feels too much, just stay here and stay with the hamstrings. You can start to add that little roll. Don't force it. But when you roll back down onto the mat, try and control it back down. So it's like you're holding onto the band and trying to place your back down on the floor really, really slowly. 2 more. And with your last one, you get to hold it, come all the way up, put a bit of tension in your band and pull yourself back up to seated. That works lovely. Now you can put your band to the side for a second and then face forward so it's easy for you to see. So with your right leg forward, you're going to pull your left foot into your thigh. Hand under your right buttock and pull the right buttock back so it levels at your pelvis. Hands come into the centre, you're going to reach up to the ceiling. You're going to pull the hands down and then reach forward. And then pull up and reach to your mid-chest, glide forwards. Now when you glide forward, add a little lift this time. So not only pushing forward, but you can then push the hands up towards the ceiling. So glide, lift, pull back and reach. And that just reach coming up towards the ceiling each time, just puts the spine back into extension. So we're going to overload our lower back. And 2 more. Now if you bring your hands forward this time and to the inside of your ankle, you're going to gently pull your left arm back. Now as the hands towards the ankle, try not to round the back to get there, so if it has to come back towards the knee, that's fine. Keep lifting up through the chest and using that left arm to encourage rotation through the spine. About pulling that left shoulder blade back in towards the spine. So as you're pulling the arm back, you're keeping your palm facing forward. And then you're going to try and turn your palm so it faces towards the ceiling. And as you do that, you're rolling the shoulder back and hoping to get more stretch here. If you let the palm face down, the shoulder rolls in and we never get into that pec minor there. So as you roll the arm back, palm to ceiling, as if you're holding a tray in your hand. And 1 more here. changing sides. So come into the centre, bring your left forward, right foot comes into the inner thigh to the knee or a little bit further forward. Pull the hip back, hands to centre, reach up so you feel the spine lengthens. Keep the lift of the chest and then push forward. Reach up, gentle push forward. Now that left leg, try and keep your knee and your toes pointing up to the ceiling. Then when you glide your hands forward, so you give them a little lift at the end. And you just feel that extra little lift. Gives you an extra little stretch. Now think about the back. Trying to collapse down here. So you don't want to feel that you're stretching all into the back. You're trying to keep your posture. So when you reach the arms up and it gets you nice and upright, trying to maintain that length in the spine as you push forward. And once more. This time we're going to come into our rotation. So you're going to bring the hands to the inside of your left foot and it's your right arm that does the sweeping back. And again, you can bring the hand further back towards the knee. What you don't want to be is reaching forward and having to round the back because it never rotates properly in this position. Think about lengthening, think about the alignment, each vertebrae stacking. And then you might notice as you reach the arm back, you get your movement a little bit bigger. Start to turn your hand. So again, it's as if you're holding a tray at the back. And when you turn the hand, feel the shoulder. The top of the shoulder looks behind as well. Again, this muscle can cause so many problems, especially around our shoulders. So give me a couple more. And especially been sat desk a lot over the last however long it's been right now. From the centre, try and bring your feet back together. So soles of your feet together. They might be forward, knees might be in the air, that's fine. Just try and encourage the knees down. You can bring your feet a little bit closer, elbows on your thighs, and just take a little bob forwards. Now as you're bobbing forward, you're trying to get the inner thighs eased off, but you're trying not to stretch into the back. We get a lot lower by doing this, but all we're doing is mainly stretching the upper back. The job is trying to keep the rib cage lifted right up off the hips. So when you rock forward, it's coming from the hips. And for 4, 3, 2, and your last one. And then stay in here where you are. So in this seated position, you're going to take your right leg back. Keep the left leg where it is, so you've got both knees when you look at 90 degrees. You're going to turn your chest towards that front knee, hands by the hips, not the hips, the knee and the foot, and hinging forward. So first of all, you're going to bring your heart over towards your knee. Pressing your right knee down to the floor. And then if you want to go a little bit deeper, you come more to the front and you bring your chest over your shin. Get the ankle bone on the mat because it hurts on the wooden floor. And then if you want to deepen the stretch even more, you just bring that leg a little further forward so it opens up the hips. Breathing out as you hinge. And again, as you breathe out, feel like you're just sinking but keeping the length in the back. So it feels like you're pushing your heart forward as you come forward, like trying to get your heart forward at the shin. Once more, and stay here. So with your right hand, you're going to circle and you're going to roll the shoulder back. And again, turn your palm up towards the ceiling. Pull the shoulder blade right down into the back of the ribs. And then try and make your circle bigger, really pushing forwards now. 3 more. 2. And then we get into our hip flexor on the right hand side. So we're going to stay in this position. With your hands again, in front of your shin, and turn to the side so you can see a little bit easier. Your option is to keep that knee bent and maybe work down onto your elbows. Or you can take the right leg back and turn onto the top of the knee. And you're going to turn the knee and the top of the toes down to the floor. And then your right hip almost comes towards that left heel. Now, a little rock from side to side. So feel like you just let your weight rock over into your right hip and then back into your left. Now again, you can make the stretch deeper in your left hip by bringing this leg a little further forward. So the more you get that knee at 90 degrees, as you rock across, more stretch into that left hip. And it shouldn't be too painful. It's just feeling a nice mild stretch coming around that hip joint. And then once you've got the stretch on, you're going to hold it on now. You can stay here and just gently lift your ribs and then relax them down. Again, it's just like you're trying to point your heart up towards the ceiling and then down towards the shin. So again, just that little bit of movement through the upper back just makes a big difference to stretch into the hips. 2 more. And then your last one. And now you're going to try and come a little deeper to the floor. So it might be coming onto your elbows, or it might just be walking your hands a little further forward. And then back to your rock. So let your weight rock back over to that right hip. I'm just going to press that right hip bone down to the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, hold your last one. Push the ribcage forward again and just stay here. So at this point, you should have a stretch in your hip. Not to the point of pain, so you're on a scale of 1 to 10, about a 5 or a 6. Anything more than that, your body's not going to allow it to relax and let it go any further because it thinks it's unsafe. So just letting your body know it's safe, you've got the stretch under control, and then hopefully after a few nice big deep breaths, the muscles start to ease off a little. And then you can take it a tiny, tiny bit further if you want to. Big breath in, right down to the hips. Out breath, let the upper body relax. And ease back in to the centre. So as we come back into the centre, we're going to turn to the other side. So your knees come back to being wide, and then both knees roll to your left. Right. Your right leg pushes a little further forward, and you're trying to encourage both knees down to the ground. One hand in front of the foot, one hand by the thigh. Little lift of the chest, and just start to allow yourself to gently ease forward. And again, not too much pain, just allowing your body to let the muscles lengthen a little. Breathing out as you tip forward. And a couple more. And then a little bit of movement with the arm next. So your left arm's going to reach forward, circle, and then roll the shoulder back. And again, it's like you're trying to wave to the ceiling. You might not get the hand all the way back, but just think about rolling back with that shoulder. Think about opening the front of your shoulder and pulling the elbow down into the back of the rib cage. Then go for a little bit more length if you can. Once more, and hands rest. And then from here, you're going to bring the leg a little further forward and take your heart, more over your shin now. It's like you're trying to push your heart forward with the shin. Again, it's quite tempting to just end up bobbing through the upper back. When you've got a pulse with your t-shirt, it's not allowing your back to bend. And you'll realise that you don't have to go as far while you pick up that stretch. But breathe out as you move into it. The out breath that lets the muscles relax. And again. And your last one. Staying here. So come back to the left leg now. You can either pull that left leg a little further back and you can come into that rock, just letting your weight rock over this left hip, or trying to straighten that back leg out, turn to the top of the knee, and you're going to get a feeling of trying to rock your left hip over towards the right heel. And again, as you get the feeling of pushing your left hip even just down towards the floor, you feel that right hip opening more. Again, not forcing it, but using it out breath to go into it. This is kind of nice for the hips. And a couple more. And then stay. So bring the hands forward. Lift your chest a little. And then allow your ribs to drop. So again, just get a feeling now of pushing your rib cage forwards and relaxing. Forward and relaxing. And then staying. You might want to work your way down onto your elbows. If that feels too much, stay a little high with the hands, but keep lifting the ribs. And then if that starts to ease off, you can gently rock back in to your left hip, trying to almost get that left hip to point to the floor. And then breathe in, push your heart forward and let it go. It's like you're just trying to ease the ribs away from the hips each time. And it's amazing just by moving your rib cage how much more stretch you get into those hips. And 2 more. And then staying, walking the hands back in. So coming back into the centre. Oh, knees nice and wide. And then from there, hands behind the hips and just let your knees roll from your right and over to your left, just to loosen them back off. As you roll across, lift the rib cage up again. Almost feel like you're pushing it forwards and lifting it back up towards the ceiling. And just 1 more each side. And resting here. So bringing the feet a little further forward. Hands just by your thighs. And we're going to our side bends. Try not to let the knees rock or the feet rock. Now I'm going to make the arm nice and long. We're going to reach up towards that top corner. And you're going to try and keep the arms straight. And you're going to start to feel your ribs pull away from the hips. Now as you ease over, bend one elbow. Feel like your elbow bends down towards the floor. Out of breath with every movement. And a couple more again, each way. And resting in the centre. From here, bring your right foot in, left in front of your right or up on your thigh, trying to encourage the left knee down. Even if it's here, it's fine, the knees can point upwards. Just sitting onto the bottom, wrapping your left arm across and just gently pressing the arm against your thigh or the top of your knee and adding that little bit of rotation and a glance back over the shoulder. And again, for 4. Arm nice and straight, push against the thigh for a twist. For 2, 1, and resting, changing sides. So again, just gently pressing with the back of the hand, pulling back with that left shoulder, and having a glance over the left shoulder. And also letting the left shoulder physically look behind. And again, 3, 2, and your last one. Into box position from here, so we're going to bring the hands under the shoulders, we're going to bring the knees in under the hips, and we're going to have a little bit of a stretch and movement through the spine. We're going to draw the belly up to the back, pull the hips back towards the heels, and then you're going to push forward and lift the chest. So again, draw the belly up, chin tucks in, then encourage the hips back, and then push the chest forward and lift. So belly to back, keep the lift through the upper back as you take your hips back to your heels. So you're tucking under with the tailbone, you can get a much deeper stretch into that lower back. And maybe each time, just edging the hips a little closer back towards the heels. Now we're going to add on. So this time, as you come back, hold here, lift the knees, and then push the hips up. Then come forward and place the knees down and look forward. So hips pull back, tailbone tucks. The knees lift, the hips push back and up. And then you're going to come forward, shoulders over the hands, knees down, and look forward. Draw back with the hips, lift the knees, push the hips up, let the shoulders come forward, knees down, and look forward. twice more. Just feel all the movement coming through the spine. Let the weight rock forward down to the knees and then pushing the ribs gently forwards. One last time. Knees to floor, chest forward, and this time as you push back, holding your down dog. Lift your right heel, left heel presses to floor, and then just walking your feet out, getting a little bit of movement through the ankles. Knees pushing in line with your toes, heel pressing back towards the floor. Couple more each leg, and stopping. Pressing both heels now down to the floor. And then lift both heels up and press them down again. And again lifting, pressing back. Pressing off the balls of your feet to lift the heels. And then finding that calf stretch as you press the heels back to the floor. Once more. Holding it, bending the knees and stepping the feet in. And again, as you step the feet in, just allow the head to hang for a few seconds. Let the head feel a little bit heavier. And then when you're ready, restack and roll back up through the spine. Nice and slow. And reset my trousers. And then as you're rolling back up, head lifts, shoulders roll back, and just let the arms wrap. Now the arms are like ropes, just wrapping around your waist. The knees and the hips hopefully stay nice and still. Just have a little glance back over the shoulder for 4, 3, 2, and your last one each way, and settling in the middle. Give the shoulders a nice big lift and let them go. And again, another rise and a release. And applaud yourselves, ladies and gents. The warm weather